Good morning. Nance and I are back. She's my little guinea pig today, so we're going to spread some love and some torture. We are talking about your fourth chakra today. So really focusing in on your heart space, talking about love and compassion and connection, and also happens to reside largely in your lungs, in your diaphragm. So we're talking about your immune response. Obviously talking about a little bit of breath, and if these things are in balance, we're feeling very compassionate, we're feeling joy, we're feeling gratitude, and if we're a little out of balance, we might be feeling a little more possessive, we might be feeling jealous, maybe a little bit lonely. The color of your heart chakra is green, and it's the upper thoracic part of your chest. Think about where your lungs, your diaphragm, so chest cavity. So a lot of heart kind of opening moves, as you may have guessed by now. We're going to start with the breath. So you can find any comfortable seated position. You could be sitting on your kitchen counter having a sip of coffee, sitting at your dining room table, really doesn't matter. But sit up nice and tall. You want to start to feel your root chakra, the base of your spine. We're going to work all the way up to the crown of your head. So thinking about Nadi Shodhana. I've probably destroyed how you actually say that. Yes, go with that one. And we're talking about the Ida, which is your left side, and your Pingala, which is the right. And together these make up your Sushama, Nancy. Best guess, Nadis. And like a double helix, they kind of crisscross. So think of what your genetic DNA looks like, and they crisscross across each of your chakras. And this is the sort of the groundwork of Kundalini Yoga. The thought is that your prana, your life force energy, lies dormant at the base of your spine, sort of coiled like a snake. And you can rise it up through all of your 7 chakras to your head, right? So basically building through all of your 8 limbs of yoga and all the 5 koshas to arrive at the same space, which is this idea of consciousness of merging with the soul. So when you breathe, you're going to breathe from the inside out. I want you to envision, as you close your eyes right now, the length of your spine, this idea of that double helix, your nadis, your subtle energy bodies channeling up to the crown of your head. And as you do that, start to bring the breath, maybe inhales start from your pelvic floor, bringing them all the way up till your mind meets the crown of your head. And as you exhale, maybe crisscross that breath all the way back down to meet your sacrum, right? Your pelvic floor. And as you keep breathing, if you're not familiar with alternate nostril breathing, you can certainly open your eyes, but you're going to take your right hand and press your pointer and your middle finger towards your thumb, towards the heel of your hand. That might feel a little awkward, that's okay. And you're going to start by taking your ring finger, gently press it into the left nostril. You're going to breathe all the air out of the right side, and then take a full breath in the right nostril. Pause, press the thumb, release the left nostril, and breathe all of the air out. And then a full breath in. Pause, switch nostrils, and keep cycling. So as you keep cycling at your own pace, I don't want you to suffocate. I don't want you to feel like you're building anxiety. You just want to start to build lung capacity. You want to feel your ribs expand. You want to feel yourself lift up, following the inhales to the crown of the head, exhales rooting down through the belly and pelvic floor. So we're going to take maybe 3 to 5 cycles because we'll all be slightly on different paces. But imagining the color green, right? Heart chakra. Energy is building, maybe becoming a little smoother with each cycle of breath. And you're kind of noticing maybe the right nostril is a little clogged, or maybe it's the left. We're starting to try and even these 2 nadis out. Ida on the left, which is associated with moon, our more feminine side. It's cooling. And then Pingala, which is the right side associated with the sun, is a little more stimulating, it's masculine, it's hot. So if you are a little frazzled, you're thinking about really working the left side Ida, or maybe you need a little fire today and so we're stimulating the right side, You're going to take one full cycle of this alternate nostril breathing. Wherever you are, just finish a whole cycle, drawing the breath in a little deeper, feeling the full length of the spine. Thinking about freeing up your energy, and as you start to release palms and open your eyes, keeping the breath gently moving, although we're not going to be using your hand to do the alternate nostril breathing, you want to think about breathing fully the length of your spine through your practice. So when you're ready, you're going to come onto your belly. Make sure you have a little bit of space because you're going to want to take your arms out to a T. We're going to take one of my favorite poses, if not the favorite, Jakasana, which is really just a made-up name of Jackie Asana, compliments of Blanca and everyone else. So I apologize for not being too familiar with this particular Sanskrit name, but make sure your palm is down. It's facing the floor, your cheek is down, and you're letting gravity take over. So you might find something a little more soothing just as we can adjust the energy of the breath. For breathing purposes, nadi balancing purposes, you want to do that to balance your chakra. Maybe you need a little more surrender, a little more compassion. Maybe you're feeling a little frazzled, a little jealous today, a little possessive, right? Coming back to your fifth yama, which is your first limb of yoga, non-possessiveness. Just loosening up the death grip. Maybe it's holding in the shoulders of your breath or your hips or your low back. So just softening a little, find that little bit of surrender for 3 more breaths. Still breathing the length of your spine. Maybe it still has the quality, color of green. Take one more generous breath to fill up, and when you're ready, exhale gently back through center. Maybe you need to wiggle the biscuits a little, turn your cheek to the other side. Be gentle with yourself. Right palm reaches out. Make sure your palm is down, and then roll the left leg to fall behind you. This side might be a little different. Oftentimes you see people set up with a bent top knee, placing the foot behind your thigh, kind of peeling open. That might be a little too much. So inviting you to stick with the straight legs, letting gravity take over. Surrendering on the exhales, which you'll remember is your fifth niyama, the second limb of yoga. So really trying to intertwine, kind of weave in the chakras in the practice that you're already familiar with. About 3 really good breaths. You want to let yourself move with the breath so you're not feeling stuck at all. You're not squishing yourself into any space. As you breathe in, fill up, expand. Maybe you kind of feel yourself roll a little out of the pose. As you exhale, sink in a little. Let things be a little more fluid, not just in the breath, but body. So filling up one more time. And then exhale, melt back through center. Being slow maybe to wiggle the sits bones, the heels, finding a little bit of space, a little love and compassion for that low back of yours. We're going to gently move towards your sphinx. I lied. Let's do locust first. So as you bring your forehead to the mat, allow this to be a little more grounding. You can either turn palms to face the floor. You might work here with tented fingertips to work the shoulder blades a little bit together and down, away from your ears. And you can stay here. If it feels okay, you're going to start to lift a little from the heart, maybe from the heels, but you're not looking to create stress in the body. You're looking to create breath first, foundation for that breath. Make sure you're keeping the fluidity. It's easy to start just squeezing the breaths out. So maybe flip that and focus on deep breaths in, expanding the rib cage, breathing into the heart. 3. And find that sweet spot of strength where you feel a little more connected throughout the body. So it's not just isolated in your buns of steel or your mid back, low back, shoulders. Fill up, breathe one more time, and then exhale, release. And get a good breath in. And a really good breath out. Nice job. We'll take that one more time, lifting just to find foundation of sphinx. So don't move too far, go for length. As you draw your gaze a little up your mat, you're going to start to move your elbows underneath you. Setting up similar to how you would for dolphin, but that's not quite where we're going. Make sure your wrists are gently in line with your elbows. First thing you want to lengthen is your cervical spine. Press your shoulders down and really work sort of that upper thoracic, mid-thoracic part of your chest cavity, your spine. Again, it gets easier to rinse the breath out, so focus on breathing into the heart, filling up, not just rinsing out. Especially these days, you got a lot going on. We're all giving a lot just to get through our day-to-day stuff, forget all of the current events. So 3 breaths. Come back to the length of the spine. Maybe coming back to the color green. Maybe take a little pit stop and an inhale to swirl the breath around, the energy of the breath anyways. Heart cavity, lungs. You can stay in this Sphinx. Maybe this is more soothing. Maybe you have enough integration for the spine happening. Otherwise, you leave your palms where they are. If you'd like to engage the belly in those biscuits, you can start to press through the palms and engage, extending elbows, Biju Padasana, right? Bringing a little more of that emphasis we feel in locus in the mid-back, low back, up into the upper shoulder region, the thoracic part of your spine between the shoulder blades. 2. Press shoulders down one more time, fill up and lengthen, and exhale, release all the way down. Maybe crocodile palms. Plant head rests on the fingers. Shimmy, shimmy. Again, every moment you have to rest, you take advantage, even if it's just a breath or two, to find those moments of surrender. Compassion for self. As you start to rise gently towards upward facing dog, you're going to find the palms underneath. Maybe it's somewhere between cobra and upward facing. Move slowly. Again, working the inhales. Work the length of the spine as you breathe, right? We're not using the plugging of the nostrils necessarily, but see if you can come back to that same evenness of breath, same power. Filling up, feeling those energies of your nadi's helix all the way down, crisscrossing through each of your chakras for 3. Again, if you need to fire up the breath, or maybe cool it down, maybe you're activating one way or another to balance out your heart chakra, and then let your knees settle to meet the mat. We're pressing into cat. So round through the spine, 3-ish. Maybe it feels good to move the hips a little side to side, or press through shoulders. Maybe you're tucking your chin or your bum, but a little press from the palms, a little press from the tops of feet. Right? Feeling the thoracic part of your spine, and then put that in reverse as you breathe through neutral to find your cow. We'll take a few more breaths here. It's a heart opener, it's a throat opener. You still have a little engagement, rinsing a little through the sacrum, similar to your locus. Take one more generous breath here. Feel your fingertips, and we'll press back towards extended puppy. Hips start to sink towards the heels. Same option as we had in locus, work the fingertips so you can extend the elbows, press the shoulders, and kind of gently start to press your heart through the shoulders. So you feel your shoulder blades a little bit, moving a little bit together and down. There's a little bit of a rinse, but still breathing the length of the spine. Maybe as you breathe in, it's through the heart. Right? Use your breath. Find this balanced quality of heart chakra. We'll take 2. I'm trying not to create stress in the body, just looking for a little bit of foundation, a little more stability, loosening up of your effort. And as you move slowly through neutral, maybe all the way to your cow for a generous breath in, start to curl your toes underneath you, so that as you start your exhale, when you're ready, you're pressing your hips up and back to downward facing. Let yourself land. Let your head hang a little heavier, jaw a little heavier. finding a softer side of this practice so that there's room for each of these poses to start to work on you. Breath works on you as well as you work your feet a little closer together. We're going to take your right foot to the sky and peel open. Just 3, finding those familiar bits and goodies. Maybe you wiggle toes and roll out ankles. And take a generous breath in here. And as you exhale, knee towards the nose, step towards your low lunge. You might like some blocks underneath the palms. Find a moment to lengthen the spine as you sink into hips. You're activating your glutes again, supporting a little stretch through the front of that left hip. If you want to reach your right hand to the sky, go for it. Take about 3 breaths here, breathing in to open the heart. So maybe less focus on the back side, the shoulder blades moving together. Maybe it's more about breathing space across the front of your shoulders. You're going to fill up one more breath here, and as you exhale to drop, palms will press forward through standing leg split. Just a breath here to peel the hip open, that hybrid 3-legged dog variation. You can take that left set of fingers in any direction. Maybe it's a half moon 2, and then exhale, Uttanasana fold. 3. Let your head hang heavier. Feeling a little more connection, if only with yourself, your body. Letting your mind move a little bit inward as you feel your feet start to root down. Inhale to a long spine. And exhale to fold, surrender. Breathe it all the way to standing. Filling up. And exhale, release, forward fold. Find your own rhythm here. Lengthen. And plant the palms as you step to high plank. Bring your knees to the mat. Inhale, cow. Or cat. Whatever you did, do the opposite. Go back to puppy's pose, extended. Find the breath again. Inhale towards your cow for good measure. Curl your toes and press your hips up and down. And work your feet gently together. Left toes are going to reach as you peel open. Wiggle a toe or 2, roll out the ankles, find a little bit of energy, and as you squeeze the belly, knee towards your nose to step through low lunge. Breathe your left fingers to the sky when you're ready. As you wiggle into some length up the spine, again, coming back to this idea of opening up across the heart. So it's not always just the back side of the body rinsing and squeezing. You want to breathe in, fill up, instead of always rinsing out. So a little less work. We'll drop the palms. We'll press forward through your standing leg split to peel the hip open. Now you can take up any shape. Maybe it's an abstract, kind of artsy looking thing happening here. Maybe you went over sideways. Don't worry about it. But find your space. Find all the little nooks and crannies, and as you exhale, forward fold. Find a little bit of rhythm in the breath as you lengthen, and then release. Nice job. All the way to standing. Maybe as you rise, fingers reach, gaze follows. Either way, bring it all the way down, forward fold. Inhale to lengthen, and we'll take a whack again. Plant palm, step high plank, press to cat as you exhale, round, and then inhale to cow. Exhale to puppy's pose, hips back, tented fingers, work the shoulders. Inhale to cow, moving slowly with your breath, and then we'll curl toes and find downward facing. This time, as you arrive, you can let yourself land a moment. You're going to step the right foot forward to warrior 1. Root down to rise. Maybe focusing more on the heart opening, throat opening. Maybe that means palms are somewhere else. They could be interlaced. They could be at heart center. Whatever allows you to find that openness. Breathing in, filling up. Falling over. Open warrior 2. Yeah, find that little bit of balance. So it's not all work here. Find that love, find the joy, find that gratitude, even in the wobbles. You're going to flip the palms, reverse. And as you exhale to windmill your palms down to the mat, that right foot is peeling up and open towards Wild Thing. As your right foot plants behind you, right fingers are going to reach, peel your heart open just to one more breath to fill up. And as you exhale, drop palms downward facing dog. Yeah, drive those biscuits to the sky. You can walk it out a little, and when you're ready, we're going to step your left foot forward, warrior one. Heart opener. There's always so many things you can focus on in each pose, but maybe your breath still has this green color, balanced quality. Remember, maybe you're going to fire up the breath. Maybe you're going to soothe yourself, something a little on the cooler side of things. Peel open to warrior two. Still working to find balance, still working to loosen up the effort, which is perfection of your asana, by the way. Your asana is defined as a steady, comfortable position. So find that first, flip your palms, and then reverse your warrior. And windmill palms to meet the floor. Wild Thing, left foot is peeling up and open, very similar to flip dog, somewhere between flip dog and your side plank, which you could take either one of those three, by the way. Fill up one more breath, and then drop the palms and press gently to downward facing. Yeah, get a good breath in here. Better breath out. Gently, we're going to bring your knees to find the floor for child's pose first. Take your knees a little bit wider, sink your hips, which don't need to meet your heels, by the way. We just want to invite a little bit of stretch through the quads towards the knees. We're going to work that deep flexion. And so as you let the breath come back, I'm going to grab a couple of bolsters. And we're going to set up, and so might you, by the way, grab some couch cushions, grab the whole couch. And we're going to sit up for Virasana. So similar to that seated position, heels come a little bit wider than your sits bones. And you want to support yourself in this position, maybe by sitting on a bolster or block, or arranging them behind you as Nancy is, so that when you recline in just a moment, you have your low back supported. So if you can, support, at least supported fish variation. So we're breathing into your heart. Knees are just in line with your hips. They don't need to touch, by the way. And as you plant your palms for a moment and lift your hips, press them up like you would for bridge. Yeah, activate the biscuits and then slowly lower down. As long as you still feel supported in your low back, you're good. If you'd like to sink deeper onto your back, if you have that mobility in your knees, you can go that route. If you would like forearms, that's an option. Otherwise, really breathing into the heart. Come back to that sense of gratitude. Come back to breathing the length of your spine. Maybe as you do that, maybe somewhere about 5 breaths. Maybe your mind is helixing those nadis, energy running the length of your spine, similar to Kundalini Yoga. Bridging together all of your energy centers, your chakras. And you can stretch into this. You can take hand to heart, hand to belly, whatever makes you feel at ease here. I find that little bit of surrender, particularly on your exhales here. So a little less ujjayi breath, a little more surrender. Right? Loosening up a little the death grip that could be in your jaw or your brow or your shoulders, wherever you tend to carry any tension. Maybe a little hoarse breath. I try not to do it on the microphone, so you go for it. Draining out all the blick from your day. And as you slowly start to engage your core, your pelvic floor, you're going to tuck your chin and ease back through seated Virasana. You're going to move blocks around as you see fit. Maybe you're curling your toes under, or you can stay, but we're going to come into stretchy camel. I think we did this, I have some recollection of doing this on an earlier chakra. So Also quite nice. And maybe you stick with that as we get towards the camel, but you're going to take maybe a block or just your tented fingertips behind you. It's more of a sweepy, movement. So drop a palm, make sure you're supported, sweep up and open. Press those hips forward, squeeze the belly, lift up to your low ribs and roll the shoulders down. Heart opener, throat opener. You're breathing in here, 3. Maybe you're dropping the palm and taking it to the other side, right? You can move with breath or on breath. I'm just cueing Nancy a little slower. Plant the other palm, sweep and press, 3-ish. More of a stretchy lateral stretch perhaps, as opposed to just the front line of your body. Kind of a side-to-side, multi-pronged attack here of camel. Love, hate camel. And then we're going to come out gently to find both palms this time. You can place them on blocks, bolsters. You can take the bolster on the back of your heels is a really nice idea some days. Not every day, by the way. You could take it the flatter way or the taller, longer way. And we're going to do the same thing. Activate the squeeze in your glutes. Press your hips open. Squeeze the belly and lift from your low ribs. Move those ribs as far away from your pubic bone as you can and work the heart opener, throat opener. Work the balance in the breath. See if you can smooth out those breath cycles first. If you are holding on for dear life, remember we want to work a little surrender so you can move a little out of this. It's not necessarily meant to be the most aggressive posture. You want to think about having some love and compassion for this body of yours that gets you day in and day out through all of the things. So we want to support it. We want to support the pose. For another long breath in, get a good rinse out. And then gently start to tuck your chin. Dang. Yeah. So ever so gently as you move the blocks out from underneath you. We're going to come into bridge. So you're going to work onto your back. You can cross your legs, come onto your bum, come all the way down. You might want to bring a couple of blocks or a bolster underneath your hips. We're only going to take a few breaths here. We'll still work the hips open, heart open, but moving in the direction of the ground. Heels under knees, press up. Again, it doesn't need to be the most aggressive physical posture. I want you to err on the side of focusing on the heart opening aspect of this, letting go of tension where you can. So maybe start with your jaw, your brow, all of those little facial muscles that make endless expressions throughout the course of your day. For 3. Again, we don't have fingers at your nostrils, but you want to come back to breathing the length of your spine. And then gently settling down. You can actually move the blocks out from underneath you. We're going to bring your feet to touch and knees to splay wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. You can extend your legs if you'd like or support your knees with blocks or bolsters, but bringing some attention to your hands, you're going to make the okay signal. You're like, where is this one going? Courageous Heart Mudra. So you're going to cross them over and awkwardly intertwine those 3 sets of fingers and then bring them back to your heart. So in this very relaxed position on your back, being supported by the floor, maybe it's a little easier to be courageous, to be a little more open. Focusing on drawing in the breath, drawing in the energy, drawing in the color green. Love and compassion for ourselves, not just those around us. Just a couple of breaths. Gratitude for those lungs, powerful muscles drawing in the breath, heart pumping. You don't always have to pick something large and beyond ourselves to be grateful for. Start with the small things. So as you release the Courageous Heart Mudra, and simply bring your palms to heart center, and a pause for that moment of gratitude. You can start with the small things, your lungs, your heart working automatically to keep you here. Sometimes when we start with the small things, it's easier to focus on larger, bigger things outside of ourselves. So as we come back to love and compassion and gratitude, and feeling this little bit of balance in our bodies, maybe it's just an internal gesture moving thumb knuckles to forehead center. You don't physically need to move anywhere, but as always, that which is divine in all of us bows to you. And we say, Namaste. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Nancy. If you have time to linger today, go for it. If you're off to somewhere else, maybe you tuck knees, rock and roll around. And we'll see you tomorrow. Toodles.